We are a group of ladies discovering science outside of class. Through a shared interest in science, we get to meet new friends and professionals.
We are investigating the health of Hicklin Lake
and how we can make it cleaner.
We hope to inspire others to become involved in cleaning our lake.
We are the Seattle Superstars!
We decided to take a stand for Hicklin Lake, the lake next to our school.
Hicklin Lake is 4.2 acres located in urban White Center near Seattle, Washington.
In the 1960s, it was developed as a swimming and fishing hole.
In 1965, drainage was diverted from surrounding areas into Hicklin Lake.
Later, a parking lot was developed over the nearby wetlands, which were the only source of filtration for the lake.
This is a problem because the lake is the lowest point in the watershed and has no natural outlet.
Therefore, everything that enters the lake stays there.
This has created a lake that is dirty and toxic, where we cannot swim or fish.
Over the years, it has been treated like a dump. Because of all the pollution, cyanobacteria has been allowed to flourish, and this has caused a eutrophic lake,
meaning there isn't enough oxygen for a healthy environment.
We want to clean it for humans and animals to enjoy it.
In order to help clean it, we need to better understand what is causing it to be toxic.
We started by looking at nutrients and how they affect the lake. Hicklin Lake has more phosphorus than any other lake around this area, and we're trying to figure out why that is.
And how and why can too many phosphates pollute a body of water?
Phosphate is good up until you have too much.
We need phosphorus because it helps plants grow, helps plants do photosynthesis, and it helps their flowers grow, and without it, plants will not grow.
It's like crucial for life.
Plants need phosphorus because it helps the plants reproduce and grow.
And we did an experiment to see how much phosphorus will make grass grow the longest.
We started with the control, and then we put 4 drops, and then 8, 6, and 2.
And we learned that 8 drops of phosphorus will help the grass grow longest. There's too much phosphorus in Hicklin Lake because there's lots of things putting nutrients in the lake, but no way for them to get out.
Where are extra nutrients coming from that make their way into Hicklin Lake?
This is the lowest point in the watershed.
When it rains, the extra plant nutrients from the fertilizer and the bird poop is washed into Hicklin Lake.
Phosphorus and nitrogen are also coming into the lake from untreated sewage and soil erosion from the surrounding area.
Too much phosphorus and nitrogen help cyanobacteria grow.
Cyanobacteria love phosphorus, right?
Phosphorus in Hicklin Lake is bad for the health of the lake because it is allowing the algae and the cyanobacteria to grow.
When cyanobacteria blooms, it covers the surface of the lake, which blocks the sunshine from coming through. The cyanobacteria releases toxins which pollute Hicklin Lake.
Cyanobacteria, which is also called blue-green algae, and there's a lot of it in the water in Hicklin Lake, and it's mostly a problem because the cyanobacteria produces 2 main toxins.
Antitoxin A is one of them, and the big thing about antitoxin A is that its nickname is very fast death factor because it's a nerve toxin. Basically, if it gets inside of your body, goes to your central nervous system and shuts it down. So you can't breathe, and your heart stops pumping, and your brain shuts down, and you die.
When cyanobacteria dies, it releases these toxins.
Toxin's another word for poison. It's a chemical, and it's a chemical that does damage. In particular, mammals seem to have problems with these toxins. We do have records of dogs dying, because you know how dogs are. They run around beaches and they're having a great time, and they run into the water and they'll drink it no matter what it looks like. And so if you have a big scum of the cyanobacteria, then your dog is definitely at risk.
Why is cyanobacteria bad?
We've been using this term eutrophic to talk about how it is unhealthy.
There's a lot of cyanobacteria at the bottom, and since the cyanobacteria dies quick, it needs something to decompose it, and these are called cyanobacteria decomposers. They take up a lot of oxygen, and there's a lot of them since there's a lot of algae. And whenever the other plants at the bottom of the lake and the fishes, whenever they need oxygen out of the water, it's not there because all the cyanobacteria decomposers.
When the cyanobacteria blooms, it covers the surface of the lake.
The light isn't getting down to the other stuff in the lake, so other plants that would normally grow on the bottom of the lake can't grow.
This helps the cyanobacteria to continue reproducing at a rapid rate.
Since the cyanobacteria dies pretty fast,
If it stops getting all the phosphorus it needs to stay alive and reproduce.
Or there was a way to filter out the extra phosphorus and nitrogen in Hicklin Lake, the lake could become cleaner and no longer toxic.
Last year, 2 floating islands were put into the Hicklin Lake.
The idea was created by a company who studied how best to filter out unwanted nutrients from a body of water. The floating island helps the lake because it's taking out the phosphorus, and that's why the plants are growing on top of the floating island.
The floating islands filter out the water by sucking up the nitrates and phosphates.
The roots are taking in the nitrates and phosphates and cleaning out the dirty water and turning it into clean water. And the biofilm is kind of like a combination of like bacteria, and it's taking in phosphorus. So that's one of the processes.
There are like little bacteria and microbes that grow underneath the island that help a lot with the uptake as well as the plants.
The floating islands are made of post-consumer plastic and pots of earth that are filled with plants.
What types of plants are in Hicklin Lake?
The roses,
Rushes and sedges.
sedges,
and rushes.
Which are kind of like a grass that are typical for around like lakes and rivers and things like that. In the middle of each of the sections, they decided to plant a shrub that is typical around wetlands. They tried to plant plants that will come back the next year to minimize the need to plant more.
And it's a natural way to do it, so it's not artificial. It's actually, these plants will get bigger as they collect more and more phosphorus.
We wanted to see how plants take up phosphorus, so we got grass plants.
And we put them in baskets so that their roots would dangle into the water, kind of like we're modeling the floating islands. And so we had different sized chunks of grass. We put Miracle Grow in the water, and it had phosphorus in it. So we're testing to see if the plants take it out. And what was our hypothesis?
The largest amount of grass would take out more phosphorus because it had the most roots.
So what do you think?
We were right.
I bet you're probably wondering how roots take in water and phosphates to clean the lake.
The water goes up the roots by climbing them.
Water is a polar molecule, which means
hydrogen has a positive charge,
and the oxygen is negative. Phosphates have a negative charge, which means they're attracted to the hydrogen. Water has a cohesion and adhesion property, which means it's able to stick to the same molecules and other molecules and different surfaces. With the phosphates, they climb up the roots because they can stick to the roots.
So you're taking phosphate out of the water and it's going up into the plant.
If we stop putting stuff in Hicklin Lake, then the plants will actually be able to like keep up with this stuff. It will be able to actually clean because there won't be stuff overloading it all the time.
How can we help others learn about this?
If we stop focusing on the bad in the lake and start thinking about the good, then we can make a difference and we can accomplish our mission to clean up the lake.
We decided to create a walking tour that consists of 4 informational signs.
Each sign has information and ways for individuals to take action.
Our first sign shows and tells readers about what Hicklin Lake used to be like before there was excess nutrients in the lake.
It used to be a place for fun with friends and family. People used to swim in the lake and have picnics near it.
This sign explains the current science story behind the excess nutrients in the Hicklin Lake.
This sign starts our tour around the lake.
Our second sign is for animal lovers.
There used to be a diverse set of birds and fish that lived in and around it.
Hicklin Lake could be a place for bird watchers, dog walkers, and fish people.
It explains how the excess nutrients have affected these animals and what the community can do to help.
The sign explains how the excess nutrients have affected the animals within the Hicklin Lake community.
Our third sign is a fun way for kids of all ages to learn about the lake.
It is a comic strip about this made-up creature, Timmy, designed by Dominique,
that talks about Hicklin Lake and what kids of any age can do to help Hicklin Lake.
Timmy suggests that people leave no trace behind.
And our fourth sign with what's missing, a bioswale, is a sign that will be located by the water that enters Hicklin Lake.
We believe that a bioswale, a constructed wetland, needs to be built here to filter the water before it enters Hicklin Lake.
This bioswale could significantly reduce the amounts of nutrients entering Hicklin Lake and work along with the current floating islands to provide hope that Hicklin Lake will be cleaned up one day.
We, the Seattle Superstars, hope that future generations of all animals can enjoy and be safe in and around Hicklin Lake.
We also hope that people can start to think about making changes in other lakes from what we have learned about Hicklin Lake.
We are one group. We can't fix the whole world, so we are starting with the Hicklin Lake.
Stars began by teaching me the science behind Hicklin Lake. Through this adventure, I have learned so much more about the importance of science than I dreamed possible. Stars taught me that we can use science to take a stand for a matter that we care about. And by not being forced or planned, like in a classroom, Stars taught me that science is a fun way to discover new information. Next year, I hope to come back and volunteer as a near peer for Stars.
Hola, mi nombre es Cassandra. En todo este tiempo que he estado en Stars, he aprendido mucho sobre Hicklin Lake. También me ha ayudado a entender mejor ciencias. Me gusta mucho y he disfrutado estar en Stars porque al mismo tiempo de estar aprendiendo, paso tiempo con mis amigas. Gracias por dejarme ser parte de Stars.
My name is Vanessa. In Stars we learn how Hicklin Lake has bacteria and how we want to clean it so the fish could live there. And people would want to come if the lake is clean. I shared this information with my sister and now they know what happened in Hicklin Lake.
Hola, mi nombre es Giselle y en todo este tiempo que estoy en el programa de Stars he aprendido mucho sobre Hicklin Lake. En este programa me enseñaron todo lo malo que tiene Hicklin Lake. Por ejemplo, sobre los nutrientes que tiene el lago. Me ha gustado mucho aprender cosas nuevas que me pueden ayudar en mi futuro. He disfrutado mucho aprender sobre Hicklin Lake y espero volver a aprender más.
Hi, my name is Willow and I was in Stars this year. Stars didn't really change how I thought about science because I already really loved it, but it did give me access to be able to do science, which was really cool. It was also really cool to be able to see all of the kids who liked science, who were like just sprinkled in every class that I had, be able to come together and do science together and be able to find out really cool things. And it was also really cool to be able to share what I was learning with my family, especially with my stepdad, because my stepdad is really sciencey, and it was cool to actually talk about things that I felt were more like his level.
هاي أنا اسمي هاجر وشنو تعلمت بهذا الصف اسمه ستارز. تعلمت هواية على هذا البحيرة اللي يم مدرستنا اسمها هيكلين ليك. أنا تعلمت طريقات أقدر أساعد البحيرة خاطر عالم يحبون يروحوا لها ويتمشون بيها. عالم اللي يمشون مالتهم الكلب لو يلعبون الصحن الطائر لو يركضون يم البحيرة. أنا همين تعلمت إذا تساعدون البحيرة تنظفوها تقدرون تساعدون الحيوانات الميموتة وتقدرون تساعدون العالم اللي بهالبكان اللي عايشين يم البحيرة. أنا أريد أقول لكم إذا عندكم طلاب بصف السابع لو الثامن تقولونهم يسجلون بهذا الصف اسمه ستارز لأنه حيحبون هذا الصف وحيتعلمون هواي من عنده. وإذا عندكم طلاب أكبر من الصف السابع لو الثامن تقدرون تقولوا لهم يجون يساعدون هذا الصف همين حيتعلمون هواي ويحبون هذا الصف.
Hello, I am so proud that I am a Stars, where we stand up for science. We start from standing up for Hicklin Lake. We can't fix the world, the whole world, Because we are a small group, I learned that standing up for things is amazing. You'll be so proud of yourself when you help or stand up for something. That's it.